Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be taking some early looks at the winter of 2024 to 2025. Just going to take some early look, some early analysis, what to expect. It's still very early, but just looking at some patterns that are developing and going to continue to develop in the future. So let's get right into it. So right now we have the CDAS, sea-surface temperature anomaly difference map pulled up from global mean. This basically means that we're basically looking right here, and this is the ENSO area right around the equator. We see cooler than average temperatures, right? The blue is cooler, warmer colors are warmer, cooler colors are cooler. We see a La Nina, and these like wave-like patterns, they kind of represent our trade winds in favor of a developing La Nina. So this is very important, and this will affect our winter and even fall as we get into it. So we're going to continue watching this area as it continues to cool, getting into later in fall and winter. So what is the kind of current value? So latest value right here is negative 0.29 Celsius, and that basically means that we have a very weak to ENSO neutral right now. So we see that our graph kind of went up a little in early June as we got into summer. But now that we're starting to end summer and get into fall, we've seen more of a drop off and a slightly more leveling of it and starting to drop off kind of like that. So that's very interesting. This is very big role in our La Nina forecast. So this is good. This is going to continue cooling, possibly most likely at a gradual rate before starting to warm back up during our winter months. So expect a weak La Nina most likely for our winter. Here's our forecast. This is the latest update, August 19th, so just 5 days ago. And this is our outlook for ENSO. So basically, we have dynamical and statistical averages. So taking a look at the dynamical average, you see it comes down right around right here, and DJF is December, January, February, our main months of winter. And we see it at a value around negative 0.7 Celsius. And then we have our statistical average, which is around a negative 0.4 or 3 Celsius. This means the statistical average shows a weak La Nina, statistical averages show kind of like a weak / ENSO neutral La Nina, and then our dynamical averages show kind of like a weak, kind of moderate La Nina. So this is very interesting. If we take it in the middle, we'd get right around 0.5 Celsius, which is a weak La Nina. So many forecasts are calling for a weak La Nina, and that is a pretty big pattern. It actually kind of does favor snow for the northern tier of the U.S. and less snow for the southern tier of the U.S. So that's very interesting, and it's a pattern we're going to continue to look at and make forecasts on as we get deeper into winter. Now, there's a couple other teleconnections and patterns. Right now, we have our QBO. Okay, our QBO, this is our quasi-biennial oscillation. And basically, it's one of the teleconnections that play a big role in our winter. Right now, the QBO is in a westerly phase. So, westerly is a negative QBO. And so it is a negative QBO. And then a positive QBO is an easterly phase. Okay, and that's important to our winter. Okay, it can kind of dictate our things. So for a more snowier winter and more favorable winter for areas of, for example, the Northeast, you would want a negative QBO, and that's what we have right now. We're gonna get into a westerly phase. We're gonna stay westerly for next few months, and even possibly into winter. And if it does stay in that westerly phase into winter, that will be a big big thing to watch out for, and that will aid possibly in our snowfall. So there's a whole talk about QBO, exactly what it is. If you want to take a little more of a dive on it, you can explore it as you please. We also have another pattern that I don't have pulled up, but it's also called the PDO. This also is really important, and you have the positive PDO and negative PDO. We kind of want a positive PDO, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we need a positive PDO for a nice winter, okay, for a kind of more snow or cooler winter for areas of the Northeast and northern U.S. However, with a negative PDO is what we're expecting. That's going to cause a little bit of warmer conditions for areas of those northern tier. So that's something we have to watch out for. If we have a negative QBO and a negative PDO, they don't necessarily mean the same things. So they're kind of opposite of each other, somewhat ironically. So that's what we have to pay attention to, how these conflict against each other and make an ultimate outcome that we're still going to have to figure out in the coming months. Now going on to this. So this is to 12Z. Let's go out to 6Z and let's go full hours out. I have gone over this, but we are getting our developing polar vortex. And that's very interesting. I'm going to show you that polar vortex in a bit. But that's also causing cooling of the stratosphere, cooling of the poles, and we're getting into our winter phase. And that's going to cause our snowpack to increase greatly for areas of Alaska, Canada, into Greenland, areas of the poles, and even into the western U.S. and Rockies. We see a couple of specks of snowfall. So this is very interesting and something we're going to watch out for as we get into the fall month. And this is what's going to aid as we get more snowfall over here in Siberia. This snowfall will push colder air down and down and eventually into our lower 48. So that is that. Now going on to our CFS model. This shows us kind of our temperatures month by month. So let's take it month by month. Starting out with September, widespread warmth. Okay, widespread warmth. We're not really feeling the effects of La Nina yet. So though we have a La Nina developing, our impacts can get delayed as the patterns develop. Getting into October, relatively the same pattern. Warm conditions continue. November, now you start to see somewhat of a La Nina shape taking place. You see cooler temperatures over here, kind of average temperatures right in here. And that is your typical La Nina. And then you have warmer temperatures right here, over here in the southeast and southern U.S. And that's also pretty common as we get into La Nina. Now, this isn't a fully developed La Nina. As we get into December, it kind of modifies a little bit. And then even getting into January, looks like they take a little low. It's more warmer for the contiguous U.S. I like February though. February is a perfect example. I feel like maybe could be a little more west, but I do like how this shows. It shows a diving polar jet, and here let's draw it a little better. Diving polar jet, kind of something like that, and cooler air and average temperatures right over here, and warmer temperatures down here in the south and west. So this is basically what you would expect for La Nina. And then we can just go into March and May. March also really good representation. April and May. Lastly, getting on to our polar vortex. Now, I have taken this from X, from Matthew Ferreira, so any credits go to him. But I have seen it everywhere on X, and it's a very interesting graph, and I would love to look at it. So, today initiates our cooling of that polar vortex, our developing of the polar vortex for winter, which is going to bring our winter, of course. So we see steady increase, okay, as we continue into September and then October and then eventually into November. So this is just a graph representing how we just started and how our polar vortex continued to grow. Now, it could lean on the faster and even colder, or it could lean on the warmer side. So it's going to be interesting to track this and see where 2024 to 2025 ends up in this polar vortex graph. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See you later.